Unbelievable twist. Woman unknowingly takes billionaire's bag, reveals life-changing connection. Sarah's heart raced as she dashed out of the cafe, sweat pooling at her brow. Another long shift behind her, another hustle ahead. Struggling just to stay afloat, she grabbed a designer bag left behind on the table, assuming it was just a lost item she could turn in later. Little did she know, it belonged to Austin, a billionaire slipping away from his gilded cage to experience a slice of ordinary life. That day would change everything for Sarah and her two kids. Within minutes of being home, Emily and Lucas were tugging at her sleeves, the bag laid open like a treasure chest. "Mom! Look at all this stuff!" Emily exclaimed, rummaging through the contents: expensive sunglasses, a shiny watch, and a leather wallet thick with cash. The sight of it made Sarah's heart ache. As a single mom working 2 jobs, the struggle for every dollar weighed heavy on her shoulders. Yet, the laughter of her kids echoed in her ears, a comforting reminder of what truly mattered. While Emily and Lucas played with a fancy pen, curiosity sparked a wildfire in their imaginations, their laughter ringing out in their small apartment like music. They imagined the bag's owner as a superhero, battling the world in his expensive shoes. To Sarah, however, the weight of reality gnawed at her. Just that afternoon, she had to tell her kids they couldn't afford pizza for dinner. As she watched their excitement, that feeling of helplessness barely faded. Then, word spread like wildfire through the community about the designer bag. Neighbors popped in with meals, offers to babysit, and warm smiles that packed a punch of hope. "We're here for you, Sarah," they assured. And though her heart swelled with gratitude, resentment began to brew. Why should a wealthy person toss aside spoils when she was scrapping for scraps? Before she could stew in those feelings, in came a notification about a charity gala at the local community center. Feeling a pull, she decided to go, dragging herself and her kids into the nights filled with laughter and discovery. But the bitterness lingered. When Austin approached her at the gala, it was like fate had taken a turn, pulling them together. "I hear you found my bag," he said, a flicker of nerves crossing his face. "You should have seen my anxiety when I realized it was missing. It's just stuff, but to me, it's everything." His raw honesty struck her. This billionaire had struggles, too. Wealth didn't shield him from loneliness, it was a burden. They exchanged stories: his childhood, her daily grind, and the cracks in their lives began to mend a little. For the first time, Sarah felt a flicker of connection, something deeper than resentment. Just as she began to grasp the possibility of a bridge between their worlds, Sarah felt a tightening in her chest. The community around them bloomed with hope. People waved, calling for unity despite the lurking shadows of class divide. She stood on the brink of revelation, questioning whether she could let go of her bitterness toward wealth, allowing Austin to become part of her life in a different way. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the night wore on, she could feel the anticipation in the air, electric and unyielding. Could they discover a way to blend their lives, cross boundaries that seemed so permanent? A community celebration loomed ahead, an opportunity to confront their barriers. But Sarah felt the tension rising. Would it bring confrontation or cooperation? The night shimmered with potential, her heart pounding as her mind wrestled with choices yet undiscovered. The community center buzzed with life. Laughter echoed off the walls, mingling with the scent of freshly baked goods and the sound of children's voices. Sarah stood off to the side, watching her kids dance and twirl, lost in their innocent joy. For a moment, the weight of her struggles faded. This was a slice of happiness, the kind she wanted to hold on to forever, yet, amid the laughter, she couldn't shake the growing sense of doubt inside her. Austin's presence loomed at the back of her mind. The way his eyes had softened when they talked, how he seemed genuine, unlike so many encounters she had experienced. But his world was so far from hers, could they really bridge that gap? "Hey, Sarah." Emily tugged at her sleeve, breaking into her thoughts. Austin's coming over. Her excitement was infectious, and Sarah's stomach twisted with anticipation. What would he say? What would this meeting mean for them? Austin approached, his smile disarming. I'm glad to see you here. His gaze flickered to the kids, and their laughter seemed to wrap around him like an embrace. They're having a blast. Yeah, they are, Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. They really needed this. Me too, he said, his tone sincere. The vulnerability in his words drew her closer, as if he could read her heart. Just then, laughter erupted from a group nearby, and she turned her head. It didn't take long for the sounds of judgment to slither in. The whispers faded, but the weight of class difference lingered. Are you okay? Austin's eyes searched hers, concern etched onto his handsome face. I guess I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around all this, she admitted, motioning subtly to the gala, to the people in designer suits and bright dresses. It's a whole different world. Austin nodded as if he understood. I get that. This world I live in, it can feel isolating sometimes. He leaned in slightly, their conversation swirling in the chaos around them. Sometimes, I feel like the only thing I own is my wealth. It carries this expectation, you know? For a brief moment, Sarah could see through the facade of the billionaire. They were both fighting demons, separate yet oddly intertwined. It's refreshing to hear you say that, she replied, her voice steadier. It feels like people only see what they want to see. Like how it looks like I have it all together? He chuckled softly, and the sound warmed her heart. Yes. Exactly. As they continued to talk, Sarah noticed a group of residents from her neighborhood, mingling and smiling. They looked so different in this environment, yet the laughter was the same. The contrast made her realize something profound. The world may be divided by wealth, but the essence of joy, community, and connection was universal. Yet doubt lingered like a shadow. As the community celebration unfolded, the air thickened with excitement and uncertainty. Would her past define her future? Could she let someone like Austin in? Would he want to join her chaotic but loving world? An unexpected noise interrupted her thoughts. A commotion erupted near the food stand. People gasped and murmured. She caught a glimpse of a child crying, lost in the crowd. It was a momentary freeze, a reminder of the fleeting nature of happiness and the real responsibility of community. Let us go, she said, nodding toward the noise. The instinct to protect was strong, pushing her forward, and Austin fell in step beside her. But as they moved through the crowd, her heart raced, not just from the urgency but from the realization that this was a chance for both of them to step up. Could they both learn to bridge their worlds tonight? As they neared the chaos, a question hung in the air. Would this moment lead to connection or chaos? All Sarah could do was hope for the best, gripping onto her children's hands tightly as the night unfolded. What awaited them at the heart of the noise could change their lives forever. As Sarah and Austin approached the food stand, the chaos intensified. Parents were scanning the crowd, their expressions shifting from joy to panic. Sarah felt her heartbeat quicken, a steady drum of anxiety in her chest. She spotted the small child, a boy with tousled hair, sitting on the ground, tears streaming down his cheeks. The world around them blurred, all she could focus on was that child who looked utterly lost. Hey, it's okay, Sarah whispered, kneeling down to his level, the crowd momentarily forgotten. What's your name? Liam, he sniffed, his lip trembling. Liam, I'm Sarah. Where's your mom? She glanced around, searching for a familiar face. The boy shook his head, sobbing, his little body trembling. Just then, she felt a warm presence beside her. Austin knelt next to her, reaching out to the boy with a gentle smile. You're really brave, Liam. We're going to help you find your mom, all right? His voice was calm, a soothing balm amidst the noise of the celebration. Liam nodded, the fear lacing his features starting to ease a little. Austin glanced up at Sarah, eyes glimmering with determination. Let us split up. You check that side of the crowd, and I'll check over here. Good idea, Sarah replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. Here was this man, a billionaire no less, choosing to help a lost little kid instead of hiding behind his privilege. As they navigated the throng of people, the moment became something bigger than just finding a boy's mom. It was about reaching across the invisible lines that separated them. She felt a connection with Austin deepening, not just through their conversation earlier, but through this shared sense of responsibility. One woman's voice cut through the air, frantic and sharp. Liam. Oh my God. They pivoted towards the sound, and Sarah's breath caught when she saw a woman rushing towards them, her face painted with worry. It was a fierce reminder of how quickly joy could shift into fear. Liam leapt into his mother's arms, and she hugged him tightly, tears of relief pouring down her cheeks. Thank you. Thank you so much. The mother exclaimed, looking gratefully at Sarah and Austin. Sarah felt a rush of warmth at the sight of their reunion. This was community. This was love. Life happened here, intertwined in happy moments and heart-wrenching ones alike. As she turned to share a smile with Austin, she caught something out of the corner of her eye, a small bag at the boy's feet. It lay forgotten, perhaps dropped during the excitement, its leather shining under the overhead lights. Hey, this must be yours, she said, picking it up. But before she handed it over, her heart sank. It was a designer bag, a high-end brand she recognized all too well. When she looked back at Austin, confusion rippled through his expression. Is that? I think it is, she replied, her heart racing with the implications. They exchanged wary glances, and Sarah felt the weight of her situation returning. Was that bag a sign of Austin's world, slipping into her view? Could he really understand her struggles when this was the reality he came from? It's just a bag, Sarah said quietly, trying to brush it off, but the words felt hollow. But it could mean something more, Austin said thoughtfully, stepping closer. As they watched the reunited family, Sarah's heart wavered between hope and doubt. Was she really capable of entering a world that seemed so different from hers, or was she destined to remain an outsider? Let us find out, Austin said softly, breaking her train of thought. Find out? She echoed, uncertainty flooding her tone. What this could mean for us together. In that moment, Sarah realized this wasn't just about finding Liam's mother, it was about discovering what lay ahead for her and Austin. And the weight of that realization ushered in a wave of emotion, both exhilarating and terrifying. What if we really are meant to bridge these worlds? She whispered, glancing at the bag in her hand. As silence wrapped around them, they stood at a crossroads, shadows of doubt hovering. The night was still buzzing, but this moment felt electric, an opportunity to explore a connection rooted in their chaotic lives. But before they could decide how to move forward, a loud crash echoed behind them, pulling their focus away from one another. Was it another moment of chaos or something unexpected? What would unfold next could change the trajectory of their lives even further. The sound of the crash startled Sarah and Austin, jolting them back to reality. People around them gasped, faces shifting from joyous celebration to pure alarm. Sarah felt her body tense as she pivoted, scanning the crowd for the source of the ruckus. Had the accident disrupted their fragile moment of connection? Over there, Austin said, pointing towards a large booth where a group of teenagers had knocked over stacks of colorful carnival prizes. They were scrambling to pick them up, laughter strained against the backdrop of their earlier chaos. Is everyone okay? Sarah called out, her instincts kicking in again. Yeah. Just a prank. One of the boys shouted back, brushing the dust off his shirt. But even as he said it, Sarah caught the glint of worry in his eyes, the fear of repercussions lingering in the air. Austin chuckled nervously, sensing the shift in energy, and Sarah couldn't help but laugh along. The tension broke, and something profound stirred within her, a reminder that life could tip from laughter to panic in an instant. They refocused on the bag still in Sarah's grasp, its glossy leather contrasting sharply with the cotton candy colors of the carnival. Maybe we should return this to the boy's mom, she suggested, curiosity still nagging at the edge of her mind about the owner. Let's first figure out who it belongs to, make sure no one else is looking for it, Austin replied thoughtfully, his hand reaching out to gently cup the bag. The way he cradled it was tender, almost protective. Exactly, Sarah smiled, wishing she could cling to this moment and him just a little longer. They were navigating a new territory, drawing closer to understanding one another's worlds. As they made their way through the crowd, Sarah's heartbeat steadied. She could hear the distant music mingling with the sounds of laughter, taste the realization that perhaps they were becoming part of something bigger. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the scattering crowd, and Sarah froze, recognition flooding her senses. There stood a woman who looked remarkably familiar. Dressed in a chic outfit, her hair perfectly styled, it dawned on Sarah that she was a well-known socialite from the city, a local celebrity, no less. "Excuse me." The woman called, her eyes locking onto Sarah with urgency. "That bag. It's mine." Guilt washed over Sarah, and she instinctively took a step back. "I am a boy left it. I know that bag." The woman interrupted, reaching for it. "I've been looking everywhere for it." Her expression shifted to one of desperation, as if the bag held not just belongings but pieces of her identity. The woman paused, realizing something. "Wait a second, are you?" "I'm Sarah," she replied, sensing the weight of judgment looming as the crowd quieted down, eyes turning toward them. "What are you doing with my bag?" The question dripped with suspicion but was tinged with curiosity. As Austin stood beside Sarah, a determined look crossed his face. "We found it near a little boy named Liam. His mom was just here." He gestured to the family now a few feet away, still embraced in their blissful reunion. The socialite's gaze softened. "Liam, he's a friend of my son's. Thank you for returning this." But before they could pass the bag over, the woman hesitated, assessing them anew. Her eyes narrowed, and it was clear she saw beyond the surface, searching for something more. There was a moment of silence, as questions hung thick in the air. Sarah felt the need to explain, to bridge whatever gap had just formed. But why was she feeling so vulnerable? Why did the weight of that designer bag suddenly feel like a judgment against her? "Wait," the woman said slowly, "this may seem strange, but your faces look so familiar." "Are you Sarah Evans?" Sarah interjected quietly, adrenaline rushing through her. "I work at the community center." The woman's eyes flickered with recognition. "And you?" "Austin." "And you're?" The realization struck them all at once. The connection went deeper than they realized. Suddenly, the bag felt like a bridge between two worlds. A flicker of hope ignited within Sarah, but would it lead to acceptance or alienation? As Austin met her gaze, the tension thickened. They were on the brink of uncovering something monumental. But just then, another loud crash echoed, a reminder that chaos was never far away and could shift their lives once more. What would the next twist reveal, and who would they become after this moment? The crowd's attention snapped back to the horizon of laughter and chaos, but the three of them stood as still as statues. Sarah's heart thundered. The woman's recognition had shot an arrow of discomfort deep into her chest. It felt like the world around them had blurred, leaving them in a bubble of expectation and uncertainty. "What do you mean by our faces look familiar?" Austin's voice was steady, the protective edge clear as he stepped slightly closer to Sarah. The socialite hesitated, her brow furrowing. I just have this feeling. Maybe I've seen you at the community center events. My friends and I donate to the fundraising galas there." The mention of the community center hung in the air like a heavy cloud. A place filled with dreams and struggles. Sarah had dedicated herself to helping those who felt forgotten, someone like the boy who lost his bag. Would this lady understand? Well, Sarah stepped forward, attempting to mask her anxiety with bravery. "I really think we should just give you the bag back." The woman took a step toward her, an earnest look replacing suspicion. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off harshly. I'm Olivia Harper." "Nice to meet you, I'm Sarah." "Olivia, I can't help but feel there is something different about you too," she murmured, glancing back at Austin, who wore a puzzled expression. In that moment, Sarah felt the intensity of the crowd's curiosity bearing down on them. Whispers rippled through onlookers, excitement buzzing like static electricity. "What's the deal?" one crowd member murmured. "Are they friends or something? Or maybe more, another voice suggested, accompanied by an almost teasing giggle. Look, Austin cleared his throat, his shoulders straightening. All of that doesn't matter right now. Let us just return the bag to Liam's family, and the moment can get back to normal. Right. Sarah felt a surge of gratitude toward him as he shrugged off the attention directed at them. Agreed. Olivia nodded, finally extending her hand towards Sarah, ready to take the bag. But just as Sarah handed it over, a commotion erupted from behind them, drowning out their conversation. That a young boy screamed, and Sarah's heart sank. She turned to see Liam, small and fragile, struggling against the grip of another child, tears streaming down his face. The sight struck her like an arrow. Liam! Sarah shouted instinctively, stepping away from Olivia to rush toward him. Austin trailed behind, following her lead. They reached the scene just in time to see Liam push away from the older boy. Let me go. It's my bag. He cried, panicking as the crowd began to shift. Hey! What's happening? Sarah crouched down, trying to meet Liam's eyes. The older boy became defensive, his friends rallying behind him. It's just a game. We wanted to see if he'd really be brave enough to fight for it. Enough. Olivia's voice sliced through the tension, authoritative and sharp. Back off. That bag belongs to him. The children paused, confused but visibly intimidated by Olivia's sudden fierce demeanor. Her gaze softened when it settled on Sarah and Liam, concern knitted into her brow. Sarah hugged Liam tight. You're safe now, okay? No one is going to take your bag. But as Liam nodded, his tear-streaked face flushed with fear, Sarah felt a nagging emptiness. Would this upheaval push them back to the edges where they all felt like strangers? We can work together, right? Olivia said, her voice gentler now. My son is friends with Liam, and I. Before she could finish, the loud crash of a nearby stand falling over interrupted their moment once again. The chaos spiraled back into play as people gasped and murmurs of intrigue buzzed around them. What did the crashing sound herald? Would it pull them apart, or was this the universe testing their connection? Questions churned in Sarah's mind, and she felt the heaviness in her chest return. As the dust settled, all eyes turned to her for answers. What would Sarah decide next, and could they turn this turmoil into something more than just an accident? Sarah's mind raced as she looked around. The crowd was alive with murmurings, every pair of eyes fixed on her, waiting for a signal. Liam clung to her side, confusion twisting his small features. Okay, everyone, just breathe, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Liam's bag is safe now. Let us focus on getting to his family. The crowd reluctantly calmed, but the tension still crackled in the air like a live wire. Olivia was right beside her, eyes scanning the throng, seemingly calculating her next move. Would you like me to help? Olivia asked, her voice low yet firm. I know people here. I can get Liam's parents. Yes, please. Austin interrupted, his tone more urgent than before. That would help. Sarah nodded, keeping her attention on Liam. The boy was trembling, all his bravado deflated. You okay, buddy? She asked softly, wiping his cheeks with her thumb. Yeah, I just want my bag back, Liam sniffled, looking at her through watery eyes. She gave him a reassuring smile, but inside, she felt the weight of uncertainty. What if this incident changed everything? The thrill of helping him had only just begun, and now chaos threatened to unpick it all. I'll be right back, Olivia announced, urgency knitting her brow as she pushed through the onlookers. Everyone parted for her, the aura of authority she projected clearing a path. With Olivia gone, the weight of the crowd settled back in on Sarah and Austin. Do you think Olivia will be able to find Liam's parents? Austin asked, concern creeping into his voice. I hope so, she replied, glancing back at Liam. He shouldn't have to deal with this alone. Austin's gaze shifted across the gathering. It's strange, don't you think? Just a few minutes ago, we were having a normal day, and now we're all tangled up in something that feels bigger, she finished, her heart racing. It wasn't just the boy's bag, it was about connections, the fragile threads woven between people, and the chaos that threatened to unravel them. The world doesn't always make sense, he said, studying her with thoughtful eyes. But moments like this? They can bring people together or tear them apart. Before she could respond, Olivia returned, flanked by a pair of panicked parents, relief washing over their faces when they spotted Liam. The father knelt, his voice shaking. "Liam. There you are." He pulled the boy into a tight embrace, and the melody of familial love caused an emotional weight to lift from Sarah's chest. "See? We did it," Sarah whispered to Austin, joy creeping into her heart as she watched Liam cling to his parents. Olivia allowed herself a smile, but it quickly faded as she turned to Sarah and Austin. "Thank you both for standing up for him. I know it's a lot, but there's something else," she hesitated, uncertainty flashing across her features. "What is it?" Sarah asked, suddenly alert. "I sensed a connection between us at the community center," Olivia continued. "Something that goes beyond just a bad situation. You both remind me of someone." Confusion clouded Sarah's mind again. "Someone? Who?" But Olivia's gaze had shifted beyond them, her brows drawing together again. "We need to talk somewhere quieter. This feels important. It could change everything." An electric current ran through Sarah as she exchanged a glance with Austin. What could Olivia possibly mean? What connection was she talking about? Together, they stepped closer to Olivia, who was already pulling them away from the crowd, her urgency palpable. As they moved, Sarah felt a mixture of hope and trepidation swirl within her. What revelation awaited them, hidden in the chaos of the day? Just when she thought it couldn't get more intense, she felt the ground shift beneath her. Was this about to unveil a secret that could change their lives forever? The three of them walked briskly away from the thrumming heart of the crowd, Olivia leading the way with a determined stride. The chatter faded behind them, leaving a buzzing silence that lent gravity to their haste. Sarah felt a knot tighten in her stomach with each step. What could be so important that it required secrecy and urgency? They finally veered off to a secluded corner of the park, shaded by tall trees that whispered in the wind. The lively sounds of the festival became muffled, creating a cocoon of intimacy around them. Sarah leaned closer to Olivia, her heart thudding loudly in her ears. "Okay, we're here. What is going on?" Olivia took a deep breath, her expression a mix of concern and excitement. "I've been looking for something or someone," Olivia began, her gaze darting between Sarah and Austin. "And it hit me. When you two helped Liam, I saw something in you. A kind of spirit. It reminded me of my brother." "Your brother?" Austin asked, furrowing his brow. "What does he have to do with Liam?" "He passed away a few years ago, but he spent his life helping others, just like you both did today." Olivia's voice grew emotional, and Sarah's heart squeezed at the unmistakable pain in her eyes. He had this idea that everyone is connected. That every small act of kindness ripples through to something bigger. Sarah opened her mouth to speak, but the fresh sorrow in Olivia's voice stilled her. Instead, she offered a reassuring nod. "That's beautiful." "Thank you," Olivia replied, the hint of a smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. "But there's more. Liam's incident, it sent me spiraling back to something I found after my brother died." "What is it?" Sarah pressed, her curiosity piqued. "I discovered this bag," Olivia continued, a flicker of doubt crossing her features. "It belonged to a wealthy family. My brother stumbled upon it, and it contained documents, records of a charity initiative they were planning. It had potential to change lives, but they halted everything when my brother died. There's a chance it could have been illegal, I don't know. But something in me tells me we need to reach out, to bring it back to life." A pulse of realization shot through Sarah. "Wait, are you saying Liam's bag is somehow connected to that?" "Exactly." Olivia's eyes sparkled with an intensity that sent chills up Sarah's spine. "When I saw you two with him, everything clicked. This could be a part of the legacy my brother wanted to leave behind." Austin moved closer to Sarah, sharing a glance that brimmed with both surprise and intrigue. "But how?" Do you think the owners of that bag even know it's missing? I don't know, Olivia replied, her voice laced with uncertainty. But what if it's not just about the bag? What if we can reignite his passion for helping others through this? The weight of Olivia's words hung in the air, a mixture of hope and the fear of the unknown. Sarah felt a tingle of excitement coursing through her veins. This was bigger than she ever imagined. Then let us do it. Let us find out what's in that bag, Sarah declared, determination flooding her words. As they started to strategize the next steps, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. But just as plans began to unfold, a familiar voice broke through the leaves. Olivia. There you are. Sarah turned to see a man approaching, his expression frantic yet familiar. She squinted, the world narrowing as recognition washed over her. She gasped. Isn't that? Olivia's face drained of color. No, it can't be. What had Sarah stumbled into? And how was this man intertwined with the very secrets they aimed to uncover? The man who emerged from the shadows felt like a ghost surfacing from a distant past. His features were sharp, his hair swept back in a hairstyle that seemed too polished for the casual park scene. It was Ethan, Olivia's old friend from years ago. Sarah's heart raced as confusion washed over her. Olivia, we need to talk. Now, Ethan insisted, urgency lacing his tone. Olivia took a step back, her expression stricken. Ethan, what are you doing here? There was a tremor in her voice that took Sarah by surprise. It was unlike Olivia to show such vulnerability. I heard about Liam, Ethan blurted out, his eyes darting back to Sarah and Austin. I knew him well, but I couldn't reach you. I didn't know how you'd react. You need to trust me. Trust you? Olivia's retort was sharp, defensive. After all this time? Why should I believe anything you say? Because what you're looking for is bigger than you realize, he said, his voice hoarse. That bag you found. It's connected to things that could ruin lives and save them. What do you know about that bag? Olivia demanded, her voice rising. Ethan hesitated, glancing around, as if they were being watched. There are people who want it back. Dangerous people. I can help you, but not here. Fear flickered across Sarah's mind. Dangerous people? What had they stumbled into? Every thought of helping Liam out of kindness now felt tainted by the potential consequences. Why should we believe you? Austin stepped forward, arms crossed defiantly. I get it, you think I'm just here to meddle, Ethan said, as his expression turned earnest. But I lost the one thing that mattered to me, and now I see you trying to find something worth holding on to. That bag, it's not just sentimental, it could expose a whole network of corruption. They'll do anything to keep it covered up. The silence hung thick between them, punctuated by the distant sounds of the festival, a world away. What do you suggest? Olivia finally asked, her voice quieter now, but her resolve remained. Meet me tomorrow. I can explain everything, Ethan urged, eyes pleading. But it has to be away from here. They're watching. What about us? Sarah couldn't help but interject, fear twisting in her gut. If we join this, whatever it is, what happens to us? I won't let anything happen to you, Ethan replied, confidence now infusing his tone. You need to trust me. I know what's at stake. Olivia's gaze swung between Ethan and her friends. What do we do? Sarah felt the weight of the decision resting heavily on her shoulders. They had already embarked on this journey for something noble, but now, with shadows creeping closer, it felt like stepping into quicksand. I think she began, gathering her thoughts, we have to know the truth. If there's a chance to do good, even if it's dangerous, we have to face it. Olivia nodded slowly, resolve returning to her features. Austin looked apprehensive but agreed, gripping Sarah's shoulder for support. All right, Olivia said, her voice firmer. We'll meet you tomorrow. But if we find any sign of danger, we're out. Ethan's face softened, gratitude evident. Thank you. I promise, you won't regret this. I'll send you the details. As he turned and disappeared back into the trees, Sarah's heart raced with conflicting emotions. They were pulling the thread of a story much larger than themselves, but the unknown consequences loomed like a storm cloud. What did we just get ourselves into? Austin whispered, glancing nervously down the path. I have no idea, Sarah replied, her pulse quickening. But we're in it together. Whatever happens next, we face it as a team. At that moment, they knew they had crossed a line. What lay ahead was shrouded in mystery, but it was a chance they felt they had to take. Little did they know, the real danger was just beginning to surface. The next day dawned with a tang of electricity in the air. The sun peeked through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the pathway where they planned to meet Ethan. Sarah's heart beat faster with each step, anticipation and anxiety coiling together within her. Do you think he'll show? Austin asked, glancing around. His eyes darted from one side of the park to the other, as if expecting trouble to emerge from the bushes. He will. He needs us as much as we need him, Olivia replied, though her own voice held an edge of uncertainty. They found a small bench beneath an oak tree, sunlight filtering through the leaves. It was a peaceful setting, but tension hung in the air like a thick fog. What if this is all a trap? Austin muttered, crossing his arms over his chest. It feels real, the bag and the people after it. This isn't just some wild goose chase, Sarah interjected. Still, I can't shake this feeling. Austin sighed, his brow furrowed. Before they could delve deeper, a figure appeared through the trees. Ethan, looking more harried than the day before, approached them quickly, his face drawn tight with worry. Thanks for coming, he said, his voice low. His eyes swept across the park, then focused on Olivia. I know it's a lot to ask, especially since you haven't heard from me in years. What's really going on, Ethan? Olivia pressed, her tone firm. I wish I could give you a straightforward answer. But the truth, it's messy. That bag holds secrets that could blow up the lives of some very powerful people, he said, his voice trembling with intensity. Then let us get to it, Sarah urged. The gravity of the situation was settling in, and she felt a surge of purpose. Inside that bag, there are documents, proof of corruption that connects back to Liam. He was mixed up in things I thought he was out of. If they find out that you have it, they won't stop until it's back in their hands. Ethan's expression was desperate, and for the first time, Sarah noticed the flicker of fear in his eyes. How do you know Liam? Olivia's voice softened, a hint of bewilderment lingering. He was my friend, a trusted ally. He thought he could leave it all behind. Clearly, he couldn't, Ethan answered, running a hand through his hair. All the more reason you must stay hidden. This isn't just about a bag, it's about survival. A sense of urgency gripped them. So what do we need to do? Austin asked, looking back to Ethan, a mixture of hope and fear etched across his features. First, we need to know what's in that bag. I have a safe house, a place where we can go through it without being disturbed, Ethan said, glancing back toward the park entrance, where a few passers-by lingered awkwardly, casting furtive looks in their direction. And we need to get moving. Right now. They exchanged glances, a silent agreement forming. Whatever it took, they were in this together. They would not allow fear to control them. Lead the way, Olivia said, her expression marking a blend of courage and determination. As they followed Ethan, Sarah couldn't shake her feeling of foreboding. This was no turning back now. Each step felt like a plunge deeper into an abyss where knowledge and danger intertwined. They had ventured into a quest for truth, and truth had always come at a cost. Arriving at a nondescript apartment building, Ethan led them up the stairs, his demeanor shifting into one of focused urgency. They could nearly taste the weight of what lay ahead. What if we find something that's too big to handle? Sarah whispered to Olivia as they climbed. Her stomach knotted, fear pooling within. Olivia paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. Then we face it together, just like we promised, she said, her voice steady yet vulnerable. When they finally stepped inside, the small room was filled with shadows, and it felt like the walls were leaning in watching. Ethan turned to them, determination flickering in his gaze. "This is where the real challenge begins," he said. And just as they began to sift through the contents of the bag, the sharp ringing of Ethan's phone sliced through the silence. The look on his face transformed into shock, a blend of dread and realization. "Someone's found us," he murmured, panic rising. "What? Who?" Sarah's heart raced as the implications dawned on them. Ethan held up the phone, horror written across his features. "It's them. They know we have the bag." They were about to discover just how deep the rabbit hole went, and the real fight was about to begin. What had they pulled into their lives? Ethan's voice trembled as he glanced around, the weight of imminent danger pressing down on them. The flicker of uncertainty in his eyes sent shivers through Sarah. They had stepped into a territory far beyond their mundane lives, and the stakes had become terrifyingly real. "We can't panic," Olivia said firmly, her resolve hardening. "We need a plan." Ethan nodded, moving toward the small desk cluttered with old papers. "We have to secure the evidence and find a way to alert the authorities. If they know about the bag, they may be closing in." As they began rummaging through the contents, Sarah couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and adrenaline. She grasped the bag tightly, almost as if it were a lifeline. Inside were papers harboring secrets that felt like ticking time bombs, a glimpse into the corruption snaking through the very fabric of their lives. "What exactly are we looking for?" Austin asked, stepping closer as he helped Ethan with the scattered files. "Proof of connections, anything linking the owners of this bag to illegal activities," Ethan replied, anxiety clashing with determination. He pulled out a folder, and Sarah's heart raced at each word they read. Documents outlined transactions, compromising deals wrapped in layers of legalese. "This is it!" Olivia exclaimed, her eyes wide with realization. "We could expose them." Just then, a sharp knock interrupted them, the sound echoing through the small room. Their breath caught in their throats. "Did you notify anyone?" Sarah whispered, feeling her pulse quicken. "No. No one knows we're here," Ethan responded, his voice shaky. Another knock followed, louder this time, demanding attention. "Stay quiet," Olivia commanded, glancing at the window. "If they're here, we can't let them find us." They melted into the shadows, hearts racing like a drum, breath held in anticipation. The pounding grew more insistent, a taunting rhythm that set their instincts on fire. Sarah pressed against the wall, hands clammy against the cool surface. Then they heard a familiar voice rise above the noise, loud and authoritative. "Ethan. Open up. We need to talk." Sarah's heart sank. It was Ethan's old acquaintance, a man she had seen with him before. It gave her no comfort. "I can't believe it's come to this," Ethan muttered under his breath. "They're here to threaten me into giving up the bag. They know I won tea." Sarah exchanged glances with Austin and Olivia, eyes wide with fear, and sense of betrayal curling in her gut. "What should we do?" she urged, her voice barely a whisper. "They won tea, just leave without knowing whether we're in here," Ethan said grimly. "We have to find a way out, fast." Just then, the door rattled as heavy footsteps stomped closer. Fear clutched at Sarah's chest. "We have to fight back," she said, adrenaline sparking inside her. "If we let them take this, they win." "I want to let them hurt you," Ethan said, steeling his resolve. "We'll protect each other, but we need courage." A plan began to coalesce between them. Olivia leaned closer, her voice steady. "We distract them. If we can throw them off scent, we buy some time." Ethan nodded, determination spurring him on. "Sarah, Austin, both of you head to the back exit. I'll keep them busy up front." Before Sarah could answer, Austin grabbed her hand. "Let us go," he urged, urgency propelling them. As they moved toward the back, Sarah felt amazed at the unity they formed. For so long, she had lived in the shadows of despair, but right now, they were alive, fighting not just for themselves, but for something greater. They reached the door, and with one last look at Ethan, who stood tall, a watchman against the inevitable storm, Sarah followed Austin into the unknown, the air hit them like a blast, and they stumbled into the alley behind the building, breathless but resolved. Sunlight streamed around them, a stark contrast to the chaos they left behind. "What now?" Austin asked, glancing nervously around them. "We need to find a way to get these documents to someone who can help us," Sarah replied, her heart racing. "We can't let this end here." Just then, a familiar figure appeared from behind a nearby dumpster. Liam's mother. "Sarah. I was looking for you," she exclaimed, breathless. "I heard something happened. My son, he mentioned a bag in danger. What is going on?" At that moment, everything felt connected. Sarah leaned in, urgency kicking in. "We have to tell you everything. It's bigger than we thought." Liam's mother's eyes widened, and without realizing it, the fragments of their separate worlds began to intertwine. All the strength, hope, and love they had clung to sparkled like stars above them, lighting the way forward. In moments, they cascaded into action, aware that while fear trembled in the air, their collective courage could break down the barriers of darkness. Together, they could shine brighter than ever before, bridging worlds with courage and compassion. "Let us fight for what's right," Sarah declared, and with that, they stepped out into the bright daylight, ready to face whatever storm awaited, hand in hand, hearts intertwined. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty, but with each step taken together, they would write their story, a story of a new beginning fueled by friendship, resilience, and hope. Now, as you reach this culmination of Sarah and Austin's journey, I need you to take action. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us share these inspiring tales with more people. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Let your voice be heard. And finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans know how important it is to support the channel through these actions.